Yo,
Nice.
how did you end up starting a kicker that didn't play on Sunday in our most
Dude,
important league, Randy?
it is embarrassing. I could like pull the this and that excuse, like I work, I'm tired, like everyone's fucking tired. I don't know how I overlooked it, honestly.
We were
I checked all
watching the
my shit
Browns
like
game
five
too.
times, yeah, and it was against my team. Like you would think that I would know that the kicker was out.
That's crazy.
And I'm up 3 points in that game now with CH to go against Pat Mahomes and Kelsey. So I definitely needed a kicker.
That's a rough, rough road.
But yeah, it's just we're in so many leagues. I can't believe I missed it. That's the league on the top of my list.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. That's crazy.
Maybe too many dabs, maybe
Probably too many devs.
and it hurts. It's against the Browns too. It's like, what did the other kicker, the backup, get over here?
We have 3 big leagues, and if everything falls good for you, you could literally be 15-0 though. So I'm not gonna cry tears for you.
Yeah, poor me. Poor me.
And our first dynasty league, you just play all 3 of the teams they're throwing and the worst team on its way up. Like
Yeah,
that's your
that
first
was
4 weeks.
when we got into Dynasty and stuff. I never really even thought about the aspect of it. Like I knew that in a couple years, people were just going to be rebuilding and there's going to be contenders and people selling their teams and trying to get a lot of picks because you don't want to be in the middle of the pack. Or
But
at
you
least I don't want
didn't
to be in the middle of the pack.
ever know you were gonna have a schedule that literally consisted of 3 out of 4 teams that were trying to actively lose against you.
Oh yeah, it was insane. I start off against a mid-tier team, win my first week, and then it's just the teams I'm playing against are put up 50 points or less. If I lose, like I deserve to lose. Like it's just I never really thought about that aspect of it though.
Yeah, 9 teams trying to win, 3 teams trying to lose. Pretty cool though. All
I
right,
wonder what the
so
rate typically would be in a league.
well, was this year
Teams,
4 or 3 for us or something?
yeah.
I don't know. Dynasty
I
changed the
wonder if it
game in
ever gets
fantasy
to like
football, huh?
6 people trying to rebuild out on a 12-man dynasty league.
Might
You think
be
there's ever
time to
six
refresh the
six
rosters or
throwers and
something at that
the
point,
other
you know?
six just make the playoffs?
It might be time to just like totally re-wipe the league, you know? If you ever get to
Yeah.
that point of it.
I mean, it might only last for a season though. Like it might be
Maybe. Because, yeah, players are going to get old and washed. But not that many
we
of
have a
them.
couple of teams like Keith's team, but then we'll have up and coming teams like the ones that are rebuilding should be rebuilt in that time for it to ever get that out of
Hopefully.
whack. It'd be pretty funny though to have 6 teams instantly make the playoffs.
I don't know. That'd be kind of weird.
I've never read into it. I wonder if like it's ever got that. Like people's been doing Dynasty for 15, 20 years probably, right?
The When I first started playing Dynasty, the Dynasty Nerds had a podcast, and they had been doing, I think, Dynasty for like 9 or 10 years at that point, and that was, what, 4 years ago? So, yeah, probably about 15 years. Pretty crazy.
I'm glad to be involved in Dynasty. It makes it a lot more fun. Like I love redraft leagues, but Dynasty just keeps it going and
Yeah, I've been playing Fantasy forever, but, man, Dynasty was, like, game-changing. I like it. So, we're going to talk about every game and every player today. So, that would be cool. And we're going to start with Thursday. Or no, we're not, actually. We're going to start with London. The London game, the nice and early one, was the Giants and the Packers. See, the Giants won 27-22. And the top scoring was Randall Cobb somehow for the Packers with 16.9 points. Not bad. 13 targets for Randall Cobb is not bad, actually. How are you feeling about the Packers receiving core, especially with Cobb being the top receiving threat? Lazard getting a touchdown, and Dobbs only with 5 targets, 3 catches, and 6 points.
yeah, this was a stardom game for a lot of people with Romeo Dobbs. A lot
Including
of
me.
people ended up a little bit disappointed, but seeing the targets to Cobb and Lazard, 13 and 8, it's just you can start all 3 of those receivers. I think I would be lower on Cobb than any of them, but I don't see him continuing to get that many targets. I think it was probably more of a matchup thing.
Christian Watson got hurt too in the middle of the game, so a lot of those targets filtered to Cobb, it looks like. Just looking at the stat sheet, of course, who knows, but
Yeah.
And then
We watched
AJ
a
Dillon.
good portion of this game. We watched this whole game, but
Yeah,
it
we
was
did.
back and forth. I can't believe the Giants they're definitely holding their own.
Are you worried about AJ Dillon or what? 32% snap percent, 6 carries,
Yeah,
34 yards. That's definitely worrisome.
he's almost, if not already, merely just a handcuff.
Really?
Less than a Tony Pollard. He's been doing less than Tony Pollard. He's working his way into being a handcuff. If a 32% snap, sure, I don't know what's going
Oh, he's
on.
for sure a handcuff. Oh, you mean he's
But I
working
mean,
his way backwards into a handcuff? Oh, I feel it. Yeah.
yeah, instead of being like
Yeah.
able to flex and being feeling
Instead
good
of having
about it.
standalone value, he's becoming more of a handcuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like if Jones wasn't there, I think AJ Dillon would be a good running back and be feasting. But Jones is just getting so much work, and AJ Dillon hasn't broke double-digit points since week 1.
That's
And
crazy.
you do not want that in your lineup. You do not want. I mean, I'll
He's
take a
running back
9. You know what I
33
mean?
in
Like it's just
PPR.
yeah, but a lot of it lies in his big week 1.
And then Aaron Rodgers. He's a quarterback too. A high-end quarterback too, in my opinion, but he's not anybody he's not a must-start in redraft. I'd start him against the Jets next week and Washington. He's got 2 good matchups in a row. He's definitely startable the next 2 weeks, but like when he plays Buffalo, probably not going to start him. When he plays Philadelphia, you're probably not going to start him. Thoughts on A-Rod?
I would much rather start him against Buffalo than Philadelphia. Just I don't know what it is about Philly. They're being nasty right now. But
I was just
Aaron
looking down the
Rodgers,
list on that.
yeah, yeah,
Rough
Aaron
matchups.
Rodgers. I keep a close eye on him. He could go from being, like you said, a high end quarterback to starting to get in sync with his guys. And if that happens and Aaron Rodgers starts playing, he means back to back MVP. Something I would keep a close eye on.
And then on the Giants, that played this Sunday, I think Saquon is basically the only player that matters for fantasy. Any interest in Breida, Brightwell, Darius Slayton, Richie James, Marcus
I'm a Barkley owner
Johnson,
in several leagues, and I have little to zero interest in Brightwell
David
and Breida.
Sills? I mean, Bellinger has a little bit of tight end appeal because tight ends are so bad. Sure.
Your Bellinger's been playing well.
So Barkley and Bellinger? I mean, Daniel Jones, you can't start Daniel Jones, right? Quarterback 2, maybe.
Yeah, you start him as your second quarterback in a super flex. I've done it.
I don't know. What about
He's
Kadarius
quarterback.
Toney and Wandell Robinson coming back from injury?
That's interesting. I want to stay away completely from the New York receiving unit. It's just
Even like
they're not bad.
stashes or
Like it'll add up, but even what?
I mean, somebody's gonna get targets, and we don't even know if Wandell Robinson's good or not yet.
Yeah, the thing is you don't know who it is. And you don't know if it's gonna be Richie James. You don't know if it's gonna be Sterling Shepard. You don't know if it's gonna be Wando.
Yeah,
You don't know if
Sterling
it's gonna
Shepard's out
be.
for the year, but yeah, I do
Is he?
agree mostly
Yeah.
with what you're saying. But
They're just all the same to me. You don't
I
know which
think
one like
that Wandell Robinson and Kadarius Toney have the
they
talent
could emerge.
to do it. It doesn't mean that they're going to, but I would stash them both if they're available over any of these other players. I don't want Darius Slayton. I remember 4 years ago when I thought he was going to be good at fantasy. I don't even know who Marcus Johnson is. That's crazy. He played 77% of snaps. I've never heard of Marcus Johnson. So, I don't know. Richie James, he's just Richie James. He's okay.
Daniel Jones is outscoring Aaron Rodgers.
Who would you rather have rest of the season?
Don't put me in the hot seat.
All right, let's move on, dude. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, first 1 o'clock game that we're going to talk about. Starting with the quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett. They got crushed, 38-3, but Pickett didn't play all that awfully, honestly. He threw the ball 52 times, over 300 yards, only 1 interception, no touchdowns. It was against a really, really tough defense, and he's a rookie in his first start, so I think all in all, it's not too bad. And then Josh Allen, obviously, quarterback 1, 44 points. Beast. And then when we get to running back situation is really up in the air for both of these teams. Actually, we're going to have to take some time on this game, I think. First of all, Jalen Warren played more snaps than Najee, and he had more targets. I don't understand it. I guess they were just getting blown out, and Najee's been not that effective, or maybe the backups were in. I don't know.
Or maybe
What's
just
going
Najee's
on?
more valuable than Warren, and they were getting blown out, and there's no sense in having their
Najee's been very
star.
ineffective, though, too, you have to admit.
Yeah, in fantasy and in
Real life, yeah.
football. Like last week, he didn't have a bad football game. He had 18 carries for 74 yards and over 4 yards a carry. It didn't translate to fantasy, but that's not a bad football game. The week before that, he didn't have that bad of a football game, but he's not getting the targets.
Yeah,
He's
Ben
not
was.
getting the
He
receptions.
needs
He's
Ben.
not.
He needs Ben.
His targets have drastically fallen off.
Ben Roethlisberger's checkdowns were huge for Najee's fantasy value.
I think that's the big thing. I benched Najee. We were saying trade Najee, and now it looks like everyone's saying trade
Yeah,
Najee.
you need to trade him. Not even. Don't trade him at all. Just trade him. You're not gonna get a lot. You're just gonna have to trade him for what you can get for him, man. Legitimately.
Well, after the second bad week in a row, and people are seeing Warren having that,
Maybe you
having
just
more
have to hold
carries
on
than
to
him.
him and suffer through Tampa Bay, but you have to try to bench him against Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, possibly Miami, and then there's a bye.
I would bench him until after the bye week.
And then New
And
Orleans and Cincinnati, and those aren't easy matchups either.
yeah, so what if he has 3 bad games, which he
And
very well
now
could?
we're
Tampa Bay,
literally talking
Miami, and
about week
Philly.
13 or week 12. Like, you're
Yeah,
going
by
to
the time
keep
you
him
get
on your
to
bench till week 12? Like, it's
I think
bad.
it was time to move him.
2 weeks ago, after Cleveland. People had high hopes for him still, and he had the Jets next week,